All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Employee to Entrepreneur Society interview. And I am your host, Kim Speed. I am a brand visibility expert, and I am an employee turned entrepreneur. And this community is here to support all the people that are starting businesses and trying to grow businesses. Each week, I bring on a special guest, somebody that is starting a business or growing a business and sharing their journey with us to inspire and motivate. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Trish Machiri. Sorry, I was practicing that, but Trish is from the aviation industry. She has worked in aviation for more than 20 years, and she has worked over 3 continents. And I think it's 3, could be more. She's been living and working in Canada since 2017, and has worked for Bombardier and many other aviation industry corporations. Now, Trish has embarked on opening her own business with a private charter company, and she's going to tell us all about it. So hello, Trish. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, Kim. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have another budding entrepreneur. I'm so excited to have you tell your story to the group because it's so interesting. You being in an industry that I consider actually a very male-dominated industry. And we'll jump in and let's hear where you started and how you actually got involved in the aviation industry.
Thanks, Kim. What a wonderful platform that you're running over here. And we need all the support that we can take to take that first step and jump from entrepreneur to business. It's a hard transition. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
My career started more than 20 years ago back in Africa. I wanted to be a pilot. Unfortunately, I didn't have the resources to do the training by myself. So I thought I'd go in through the back door. So I started training as an engineer for our local airline. I thought that in my naivety, I thought you'd be promoted to become a pilot.
Well, so even being an engineer, that's pretty impressive too.
It was a lot of fun, and it's similar in many ways. Well, we're working with the same equipment. We're just not flying, but we understand everything to do with flying. So working within the engineering business, it actually taught me a lot because we're always on base and we know how the company runs. So we see literally all sides of the business. Where the pilots take off and go away, we're here making sure that everything's right and set for them for when they come back and when they need to return. So a few years after my training, I moved to the UK and I worked for KLM and some big companies over there. I also did my master's in air transport management. I always felt that I wanted to work in the business side, the management side of the business, instead of the actual technical side of the business. So I did that training and it opened a lot of doors for me. And that's where the love for business started. And I moved to Canada, in 2017, like you said. And I'm a new immigrant. I've moved around a lot, like you mentioned, and moving has never been. I just pack my bags and go.
Yes, get on one of those planes, right?
Exactly. The business is usually when you're changing jobs, you have to move from country to country or from town to town. So, so I always had the mind of starting my own business because traveling so much, it gets tiring. But I always thought I would start something very simple, like maybe sell soap, make soap or hair stuff or something like that. But I was working in Toronto and I was working in a charter company, and I noticed that there were a lot of planes lying just in the hangar on the tarmac, just waiting. And some of them flew like once a month or once. Some of them I never saw them flying. So aircraft actually they like fish like to be in water, aircraft like to be in the air. And I was looking and I was thinking, it's very expensive for these aircraft to just be sitting here because unlike a car with an aircraft, you have to maintain it whether it's flying or not.
Right.
So right now, when all the aircraft are not flying in the lockdown, there's still
Right.
a lot of maintenance going on. So it's very expensive. It's a very expensive business.
So
So
more
I thought,
expensive when they're on the ground than if they're actually flying.
yes,
Right.
yes. Yeah, think about your car. If you don't start it for 3 months, maybe you
Oh,
get there and your battery is flat.
sure. Right.
Yeah, so that's the concept. So I thought the aircraft owners don't know how to get people. They probably have never thought that they could get people who could fly their jet. And there is a group of people and businesses who would use private jets but don't have the resources to buy the jets. So that's where my thinking started. And so I started talking to my friends from City University, my professors and my mentors and business people. And somehow I thought they were going to say, this doesn't work. And everybody was actually very keen. But by the time that I started, I realized, oh, well, there's nothing new under the sun. There's a few people who are doing this already. But
This exact same thing?
the exact same thing.
Yeah. So we know what that means, right?
Yes.
No, but it means it's a good thing. That means that people are actually using the service.
Yes, and I think they also had the same reasoning that I had, that you have this really expensive resource and it's just sitting around doing nothing.
Right.
And you use it every once in a while. Um, so, so it turns out there is quite a big demand for this, for like this marketplace. And so I started doing my research, and I just thought it's just one of those fleeting ideas. And I was working on it while I was working. I had the great idea to take on a job in Quebec. Quebec is like the headquarters of aviation. So you have the major organizations, our governing bodies, they're all in Montreal. So I thought, maybe it's a good idea to set up in Montreal because that's the hub of international aviation. Right. So I went there and I spent the whole year trying to set up in Montreal, and
right.
It didn't work.
No?
So, no, the regulations are much stricter there. The language, for starters, I did learn some French, but all the regulations are in French, and the regulations are quite restrictive.
Oh, yeah. And then that's just adding to everything that you're, doing in the beginning of
Yes.
setting up a job or setting up a business, I mean.
Yeah. So I knew that the industry was highly regulated, and I'm used to that, and I'm used to working with authorities and all that. But so you call the regulators and they don't reply, or you write an email and they don't respond. So that was quite a very frustrating year for me last year.
Sure.
And so I came back to Ontario and still working full time and doing this on the side. And got the regulations sorted out. And just as I was getting ready to set up, COVID happened.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and it was like, what luck. And so now, like there was virtually for a while, there was no travel at all.
Right.
Most of the planes were grounded and people didn't know what to do. And like the whole industry came to a standstill. And so I thought, it's okay. Let me set my foundation strong. Let me keep on honing my skills and setting the foundations for the business. But what I've actually realized is that COVID has actually opened up the market, and private aviation has actually recovered almost at each. This week, I'm sure it's now at 100%. Last week, it was like at 90%, while airlines are at 5% capacity. So that
Wow.
created my belief that there was a market for this. And COVID has actually highlighted that there is a need for this service, because when you travel private, you choose who you travel with. You choose where you travel from. You don't go through busy terminals. So you set the you choose how you travel. So it's a lot easier to manage and to manage the risk in terms of COVID. So so that's been a good thing in terms of validating the idea, and it's growing in leaps and bounds. And the industry is set to grow at 5 to 7% per year, and I think we're still probably going to grow at that rate. What I think is it's almost like an untapped business, because everywhere I go, even though I have competitors, nobody knows about the service.
Well, and I was just going to ask you that, Trish, is I think the first thing that I think about when I think of private charters is that's for the rich and elite. But I loved what you explained to me about these planes that are sitting, and if you can get an opportunity to, maybe there's a way to get it that it's not, I mean, it might be more expensive than you had wanted with, WestJet or something like Air Canada.
Yeah.
But is it completely out of reach, or is it something that, some regular people might also be able to do?
So what COVID has highlighted is that there's been a new demographic that have been attracted to private aviation. So families going on holidays before, they never considered, because they thought it's way out of their reach.
Right.
But the thing with aviation is that, just like our cars, you have your entry level car. It's much, much cheaper than your Chrysler, the latest, limited version Chrysler. So it's the same thing. So we have small, medium, large, and like presidential jets. So the charter fees are charged per hour, and the hour depends on the size of the aircraft that you're choosing. So you will find that you can get a small aircraft that will take you from Toronto to Muskoka, and that could cost you maybe $1,000 an hour. And if there was 4 people sitting there, that's actually worth looking into. Most people go for the larger jets, which probably vary around $10,000 per hour. Some of them go to really extreme, insane price points.
Right.
But there is definitely a plane that will probably suit your budget.
So that's awesome to know about, because it is true that, even if you were going someplace and you had a group of friends that all got together, it could end up being, quite reasonable.
Exactly. So one of my my passions is sustainability in aviation. I feel that a lot of times the jets, they fly with maybe 1 person, 2 people. A lot of the jets will carry maybe 19 people, the larger ones. Right. So if there was 19 of you and you're flying to New York, you could treat yourself on a very nice, luxurious jet, and it wouldn't have to cost you an arm and a leg.
I like that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you had a wedding party, instead of everybody flying, for example, if you were flying first class, instead of everybody flying first class, all 30 or 40 of you, you could charter a jet that would give you an experience of a lifetime, very safe, no health risks, no COVID risks,
Yeah.
And you fly. The amazing thing about private travel is it's tailored to your needs. So if you were in Oshawa, you don't have to drive to Pearson's airport. You can fly from Oshawa to wherever you're going. In the USA, for example, there are airlines service 500 airports. Private aviation service about 5,000 airports.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's very it works easier. It's very it's flexible.
Right.
So the flexibility is really amazing. If you were shipping your things, your produce from Chatham to Montreal, you don't have to drive all the way to Windsor or drive for 14 hours to go to Montreal. You could fly from Chatham to exactly where you want to go. So, in terms of time saving, flexibility, the options are so much. There's so many options, and people just don't know about the options, and it's always perceived as a rich man's way of
Yes.
traveling.
And that's what you've really opened my mind to that. And I think that we're a lot more open to hearing alternatives, especially now, especially now that the airlines have said that they're going to not have, the empty seat in between and all that, and everybody's
Yeah.
concerned. And even, as we move forward and out of this pandemic, it's still nice to know that this is available, and it's something that we could do that's nice for ourselves. The other thing that I thought was interesting that you told me about was the, what did you call them? Empty legs?
Empty legs.
Yeah.
Yes, that's another one that's high on my sustainability agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens is a lot of people fly one way. So they'll fly from New York to Toronto, and maybe they drove with someone and then they'll fly back. And then the plane flies all the way back without anybody on board.
Wow.
So there is a service where the charter fees are actually roughly about 75% of the actual charter fee. So that's a very big difference, and it actually makes chartering accessible to a lot more people. I actually think just for the sake of chartering, you could just randomly go to another airport and have the private jet experience. Sometimes you will get the right connection that you need to get to where you're going. Then that works out really perfectly. But there is a cost saving if you can find an empty leg for a route that you're flying, or if you're a little bit flexible to fly from there and then maybe finish off the other route, maybe by car or something like that. So that's also something that people aren't aware of, that we're always advertising empty leg flights. They're always available.
Oh, see, that's amazing. Like, because that's another thing that I would have never thought of. And, you're right. Like, why would a plane want to be flying without passengers? And if they could get some passengers even, get some of the costs covered, that's great. And then, as a passenger, you benefit. That's fantastic.
Exactly. It's, everybody wins.
Yes. So how do you, like, you obviously don't have like ownership of all these planes. How do you set up a business that enables people to do this through you?
So we're a platform, and we work with more than 6,000 aircraft owners globally, and we're continuing to recruit. We have partners who also add into the database. So there is a lot of recruiting of the private jets, because the jet owners also don't know that they can do this. And so there is an unlimited number of private jets that are available, and we are just connecting, because like I mentioned, the aircraft owners are keen to reduce their costs by chartering. And
Sure.
their equipment likes it because it gets to work more. The harder the aircraft works, the
Yeah,
better it performs.
that's amazing. So you're actually building awareness for both sides
Yeah.
right now. We're trying to get everybody to jump on board, so to speak.
Yes. Yes.
And then the more that people know about it, and the more plane owners that know about this, the better it is going to
Yeah.
be for everybody.
Exactly. And my hope is that we'll have more people utilizing this service. One of my goals has actually been achieved because one of my goals was to sort of debunk the industry and to make it more transparent, because in the past, aircraft charter owners, they never told you how much it cost. And it's not something that people go around telling you, like, I chartered an aircraft, it cost this much. So when you call and you've never chartered, they could randomly charge you whatever price that they want, because everyone has the perception that it's expensive anyway, but we don't know how expensive it is.
Oh,
So
and then, yeah, you actually, it holds you back because you think, oh, it's going to be too outrageous for me, right?
yes, and there were unscrupulous brokers who charged 30 to 80% commission.
Yeah.
So you have charter owners, and then they use brokers, and the brokers have got no standard. They just see what your tolerance is for how price elastic you are.
Let's see what we can get.
Just throw out a figure and see what happens.
Yeah.
But today, in the last few months, I've noticed that a lot of operators are now putting the prices online, like for the jets. Like they'll give you an example of this jet costs $2,000 per hour. That information was very restricted in the past. So I think, if anything, the transparency is good and it's opening up the business. And the more transparent an industry is, the better it is for the customer, because you're getting a fair price, a fair deal. The fact that it's a luxury or private product doesn't mean that you must be ripped off.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's something that I've really enjoyed seeing. Our website, when you log in and your destination, it automatically gives you an estimate of the cost.
Oh, nice. And we haven't mentioned what the name of your company is.
Oh, it's called Charterly.
Charterly. And it's the website is charterly.ca.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's one thing that everybody should write down and check out. So make sure you go to the website and find out more about these flights. So I just want to digress a little bit and talk about you being a female in the industry. Has it been hard for you? Has it changed at all in the last years? I'm sure it was a struggle in the beginning when you were young. Has it changed? What's gone on?
Yeah, it's a very male dominated. It's unfortunately white males dominate
Right.
the industry. For example, with pilots in the US, they keep the statistics more up to date. There are about 4% of pilots in the US, and there are about, I think, 0.4% Black female pilots. So
Wow.
the numbers are astounding, and it's almost like you're a unicorn. So most places where I go, I'm the only female and I'm the only Black person.
Wow.
So I could be the only Black person in the building.
Really?
It's been like that.
That's really surprising. I mean, that seems very, very small.
It's very small. When I got my first job in the UK, I like to tell the story. I was so excited because it was soon after September the 11th and there was a big dip.
Oh, yeah.
in flights. And so I got my first job, and the agent called me and said, so I set you up, you're going to start on Monday and bring your toolbox. And I was ready to go. And later on in the day, he calls me and he says, Trish, I'm sorry, you're going to have to cancel. And I was like, why? And he said, there are no female toilets.
Oh my gosh.
And this was in 2000 in the United Kingdom.
Oh my gosh. That's
So
shocking.
it's
That's
very
like, that's like what, something out of the 50s.
yes, it still happens in aviation.
Oh, that's terrible. So, so you're not just, you don't have one quest, you have many quests here. Sustainability, more females, um, uh,
Yeah,
more Black people in, yeah. So,
yeah, and um, there was a lady. She's called Stephanie Chung. She's one of my inspirational leaders in aviation, and she was the CEO of one of the big aviation charter firms, and they've currently they closed down during COVID. But she is, as far as I'm aware, the only Black CEO at that level in aviation. I'm not sure about the airlines, but in private aviation, she was the only one, and she's no longer working in aviation, as far as I'm aware. So I have a sort of uh, I feel better because I'm not exactly the first.
right.
Someone's gone ahead of me, but yeah, there aren't so many of us, just females in general in management positions and senior positions, flying, engineering. Uh, there's a lot of diversity at the bottom. When you go to the airport, the check-in staff, the baggage staff, there's a lot of diversity there.
Mm-hmm.
But the higher that you go, the less diverse that it is. And I remember talking to you the other day, and I attended 2 diversity webinars the day before. And I woke up the next day and it just hit me in the face. And I was like, because our industry doesn't actually talk about diversity, where other industries have been saying, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. We have like Jazz and Air Canada make a statement, and their statement says something like, we're the most diverse in aviation. And they are diverse compared to their peers, but
not very.
we're not even having the conversation. So that's what broke my heart, that we can't even address the issue, because I think right now people are afraid of losing their jobs. People are afraid of talking about it, and people just don't express themselves.
They're afraid to rock the boat right now.
People don't want to rock the boat right now. So yeah.
That's sad, eh?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it's funny because as you talk about it now, I think, when I was young, I remember it, pilots used to be like kings, right? And you're right. It did used to be like all white male. And there was like a look you had to have.
Yeah, it still
and
is.
It's just like when they used to call them stewardesses. No, remember that?
Yes.
And they all had to have the same look and everything.
Yeah.
So it was like you had to fit into a certain category.
Yes.
And I was thinking that had changed.
No, we still have discussions about people of color. What kind of hair can they wear? So this probably is not allowed for a stewardess. Because you need a certain look.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a challenge for people of color in so many ways.
Wow.
This hair, when I'm working as a mechanic, it gets knotted and ties and
Right.
We're doing charter leave.
Yes. Yeah. So interesting, like you bring up so many things that, you know, need changing and need thought.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud and impressed that you are involved in this, and you're taking it on, because it really needs to be addressed. It really, really
Yeah.
does. I think, you know, this is like there should be opportunities for everybody in this. I'm sure there's lots of people that, like yourself, love this industry
Yes.
and flying, and you know,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
don't think it's going away. It's not, you know, even with the pandemic, it's not like travel is going to end forever.
No, no, it won't end, but a lot of the issues are systemic. For example, like I mentioned, I wanted to fly, but I couldn't afford to. So for a lot of people, it's affordability.
Hmm.
So I don't know whether flying will ever be affordable for anyone. Um, but it's things that industry needs to talk about to see
Definitely.
how we can improve the access. And there is lots of organizations have taken this challenge on.
Hmm.
So hopefully in the future we'll begin to see some substantial changes.
Well, I hope so too. And you know, I think this, you know, I can't imagine being told that you can't do something because of the way you look, but it is also, you know, something that you hope that people that, if they don't have the means, we can find ways to get people into the industry.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And give people
yes,
opportunity.
yes. It's unfortunately there aren't a lot of like university courses for
Right.
flying, and if they are there, the flying component of the course is still expensive, and there is no like track that you can start this way and then end there. It's a lot of hard work for the people who've made it, and
Yes. So, and I don't want to take away that it is a lot of hours too, right? You have to
oh yes,
fly so many hours to become a certain level of pilot, right?
yes, yes, you do, and then you end up in a recession like this, and you're on furlough, and you can't fly, and that's all that you can do. It's
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's the industry, and once you love it, and you just take the good and the bad.
Yes. And that's why we hope that there's more people that can get involved that really want to, you know, and have
Yes,
those opportunities.
yes.
You know, I have a good feeling about you that you're going to help people.
That's what I'm hoping to do. If anything, to just show people that it's possible, because um, like I mentioned, I never dreamt of starting an aviation business because the barriers to entry are just so much. so
Yeah.
I'm glad that if anything, my story will give some people hope.
Oh, truly will. And I am so honored that you've shared it with the group today. This means a lot to hear, not only because you're a budding entrepreneur, but just to hear about this breakthrough in what you're trying to do. And it's really impressive. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
But Trish, I want to make sure that people can get hold of you, and I will put your website into the notes in the Facebook group. Is there a certain way that you like to be contacted? Do you like LinkedIn, or do you want your email? Like maybe you could provide that to us.
Okay, so Charterly's on LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn, I do take uh, new connections on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is Trish Machiri. I'm looking to diversify my LinkedIn because it's a lot of aviation people.
Right. Yeah. So you'd love for people to connect with you there? All
Yes,
right.
yes,
I
sure.
encourage everybody to connect with Trish on LinkedIn. So it's Trish, and the last
Machiri.
name is, yes, and it's spelled Machiri. But I will put that in the notes just so that everybody can make sure that they get.
Sure.
I'll actually put the link right to your LinkedIn.
Oh, thank you. Perfect. And we're on Facebook and Twitter, and Instagram.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And looks like everybody's really enjoyed this. I see comments. You're a great inspiration for perseverance. Yes, good morning. Good morning. There's a few people watching on here, so thank you so
Nice.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you for watching.
All right. Well, that's Trish, and please, I will put in her contact information in the notes right after this. Please contact Trish and get in touch, and hopefully you get connections through LinkedIn that way. All right, that's another one of our Employee to Entrepreneur Society interviews. This was a great one, and thank you again, Trish.
Thank you, Kim. I look forward to joining the society.
Yes,
The group.
can't wait to see you there.
Yeah.